Good evening, folks. Welcome to part 3 of the Voldrak's Crusher Warder. Good day. Welcome in, Viley.
May the specter.
I assume that's buying the writ. But yeah, if you do everything, if you buy the writ and such, you need to do a few council runs and to get revered, but yeah, it's not that terrible if you do normal and elite. And then once you have the writ, you go back and do the council on normal, because usually you don't have the rep for that quest. I mean, Black Legion's pretty similar too, and Black Legion you actually could get to revered if you do the Herald of Destruction quest, but you need to kill mobs to get Mammoth resistance anyway, so you might as well just level them both together. Oh yeah, if you kill Anasteria, I guess that would work, because then you get the follow-up quest on top of that too. Do we have dynamite? Yeah, we do. Okay. You happen to know what Anastaria is worth? So I know obviously you lose 250 for not for siding with her, I think. Then obviously you do that quest at Cascades because you can buy the writ sooner and everything. Level 78, finish Ashes of Malmoth and half of Forgotten Gods. On Elite, I assume, yeah. I don't want your shields. I want your armor and I want your shoulders. Hopefully Fort Icon will have some okay RNG getting stuff. Okay, so that's I mean, you could also just wait to do that until you're honored and you buy the writ for and then that's you get an extra 250 rep and then you get 1500 with the writ. So that's 1750 on each difficulty. So that's another 3500. Yeah, that's going to get you basically to revered. And Herald of Destruction is not an unreasonable option, though, if you want to go that way. Or like I said, since you need to kill stuff to get Malmoth to revered anyway, you just do them together. Yeah, killing her is definitely a reasonable choice on SSF, but I find I usually end up in about the same rep spot with Malmoth and Legion. So when I do my council runs and things like that, I get revered with Legion at the same time. $67 Chaos Res isn't the best. Seals of Binding. Alright, we got 3, so we need another Seal of Binding for... I think we're okay for now, but good to know. I've probably seen that augment and just never use it. Speaking of Seals of Binding... Aether Chaos Res, more useful. We lose a little bit of damage, but we get more armor. These are probably better. We'll equip these. Yes, we can pick up some stuff and sell it. We're not crafting conduits, so money is less of an issue. Good evening. Welcome in, Susie. Evening, Farnsworth. Welcome in. Yeah. I think we want more Cadence targets. That seems good. Okay, and there's a shrine there, so we'll go there on Elite. No shrine on normal. Let's turn in some quests.
I am told that I could not when the Legion was forced to abandon the. Let's see. I've already.
You're here.
Come see what's left of my wares.
Acid DE Rotgeist, very gear dependent.
Iron well spent.
I think that happened a little before that, because I remember him mentioning it before Viley, so it could have been a while ago. I don't know exactly when or how long ago, but I don't think it was within the last week. Maybe it was. Yeah, I have a mental timeline where I think he mentioned something in Braskin's stream as well, and I think that was at least a few days ago. But you know, like I said, like Farnsworth said, Twitch days just kind of blur into each other. But I mean, if the facts as alleged are accurate, I would not be surprised to see the VOD being deleted. That's that just kind of makes sense that that would happen. Okay, we need an amber. Hey, welcome in, Misa. Mystic of Thorns. Thanks a lot, game. Hard pass. Okay, Pierce Chaos, Counter-Strike, Oak Skin, way more armor. I mean, this is not the role I want, but I mean, it already has better resistances. Hey, welcome in, Morndale.
Good. You've arrived. Precisely.
That also fixes Aether Chaos Res. You know, we get Final March, and now I guess we need Vit Res now. News on what? Fangs of Astakar, and I think they're announcing a release date in May. I think people are trying to do some detective work on some other streamer drama stuff, but I don't believe anything conclusive has been reached on that. Yeah, see, Miso, when idiot Americans go to other countries and act like obnoxious jerks and then get humbled, I kind of enjoy that. I mean, I wish that these nuisance streamer type people just didn't exist, period, but like, you know, right now my country really doesn't need any help looking bad, so You know, these nuisance idiots running around causing problems. Good for these other countries for putting them in jail if they're breaking laws over there.
Hollow victory.
I don't know any of these people's names, Trixie. I just occasionally hear that some idiot streamer went to jail. And I know that these public nuisance streamers are a thing. And that's about it. Symptom of the decline of Western civilization and such.
And word that we cannot.
Come see what's left of my wares.
I mean, these are better, right? Do we need Elirez? Well, on Ultimate we might, but... Alright. This, on the other hand, is... Okay, we lose a little bit of health, but... Let's see, do we need to take the Chains of Oleron off? No, don't sell the Chains of Oleron. Alright, cool. Chains of Oleron. Yeah, we can sell this. This is Counter-Strike and Oak Skin, so... Very nice. So that's more DA, Armor, Pierce, and Aetherez. Solid. I don't even know if we can really blame COVID Farnsworth, but maybe. All right. Got an extra target there. Well, that'll do for now. Put some points in Warcry and the RR shred. No, the RR. Yeah, RR shred is redundant. It's either RR or Res shred.
My, what a curious.
Sorry, on Asteria, I draw the line at giving you items on an SSF run. Yeah, I think COVID did probably make a lot of stuff worse. And of course, we will not learn the proper lessons from it because why learn lessons when you can just make the same mistakes over and over again? Yeah, but avoid it like the plague is such a great expression. It would be a shame for it to be a casualty of COVID. Yeah. Yeah, like I was saying, I think if the facts as alleged are correct, that's probably not a VOD you want uploaded. And yeah, the isolation, and I mean the other thing is that it doesn't help when public health officials just royally screw up. I can't speak as well for other countries, of course, but you know, in the US, we had a guy who clearly knew better tell people masks don't work, don't bother covering your face in the first couple weeks of the pandemic. Now, intention may have been good, intention may have been making sure medical professionals have access to masks and there's not a sudden run on them, but when you reverse yourself like that, you undermine people's trust in you at a time when you really need people to have trust in public health officials. And then, I mean, it didn't help that the whole lab leak thing was called a conspiracy theory, and it turned out to not be a conspiracy theory. It doesn't mean that it's 100% proven true, but it does. There's a difference between we don't believe this is true at this time and only nutters believe this. Because when you call something a conspiracy theory and it turns out not to be, then people say, oh, look at all these conspiracy theories that came true. And then they start digging for the next layer of conspiracy theories. Oh, why am I talking to Anastasia? I'm not giving you anything. But yeah, conspiracy theories coming true is not ideal for preventing people from going down rabbit holes. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if there were some long-term problems with the vaccine, because obviously mRNA testing or mRNA vaccines is science that has quite a bit of it's something we have quite a bit of experience with. It's not like we invented the concept of an mRNA vaccine for COVID. I'm probably slurring my word on that, but like, yeah, obviously the idea was already there. We simply applied it to COVID. Fine, but usually you test things a lot more before you release them to the public, but kind of given the urgency of getting something out there, that didn't happen. So it wouldn't be shocking if there were some long-term issues, even if I think it's pretty hard to argue that wanting people to be vaccinated against a pandemic was a good idea, but yeah, maybe there's some issues. Yeah, dying has long-term consequences, which is why you want the vaccine out there, Viley. But it is fair to say that the vaccine was less tested than a lot of other vaccines that we're used to. And there was obvious urgency for that, which makes sense. But things like that aren't necessarily going to be without consequence. Yeah, we didn't have luxury more. Exactly. We didn't have the luxury of more time. And sometimes you have to take a calculated risk. And it's the best thing you can do. Yeah, absolutely. The basic technology and idea behind it's been well tested, just not strictly applied to COVID for obvious reasons, because you know there are other viruses that are similar to COVID that they could potentially test on, and but yeah, you have something that people have been working on for a while in some capacity, and it happens that they're able to produce something pretty quickly because the government says, yeah, let's cut the red tape because we need this. Yeah, it's like I feel like there are legitimate concerns, and then there are things that are pretty easily explained. But we also live in a world where influencer is a job, so some of these conspiracy nuts are going to get an audience, unfortunately. Go ahead. You can try to make me laugh. Well, if you're talking about influencers and advertising, somewhat yes, Viley, but I don't know. I do think modern influencer culture and the way people get views online when they're talking about things they know absolutely nothing about is it's a little bit different. Viley having strong opinions comes to the surprise of no one.
Oh, a great moment of triumph. Good, you're back. I struggle to admit. You see, the Luminari have lost.
Excuse me, my father and I were
See anything you like?
You know, I feel like asking if the vaccine is a placebo is one of the least harmful things you can do. Viley's opinion on influencers. That could be interesting. Hold on. Be right back, guys. Okay, we're back. It takes quite a lot to get banned by Mimi, so I mean, as long as you're not uttering slurs or racist things or like really horrible misogynistic stuff, things along those lines. As long as you're not doing that, you're most likely not getting banned. Yeah. Yeah, the whole anti-vaccination thing is a problem. I remember when it was just a few quirky, stupid celebrities who were into that, and now it's becoming more widespread. And I mean, the other thing is you need a certain level of vaccination compliance to kind of ensure you're getting all the benefit from it. So the fact that we could actually reach a point where diseases that we basically eradicated could come back because people are too stupid to do the right thing is just frustrating. I mean, obviously it's harmful to one's children, and that's bad, of course, but it's creating larger public health risks. You're not just harming your children, you're potentially harming other people's children. Yeah, some have come back vilely, but yeah, fortunately not all of them, and hopefully not all of them, but hang on. So this is the polio thing. It's reported from a 20-year-old from another country. But yeah, we don't need this all these things coming back. Yeah, I saw something about that, Miso. I mean,
Whatever it is you think you're doing, if you all what you ask, I can.
I struggle a little bit only because I'm so extremely pro free speech that figuring out a principled way to do it that doesn't offend free speech principles is difficult. But I mean, let's see, 3 target maximum. That doesn't give me. Well, it does give additional damage, so 47. All right, it's more damage. It's something. Beast Luke, welcome in. Free speech does not save you from the consequences of free speech. That is true, Viley. The concerning implication of that statement, and I don't mean to suggest that you mean it, is that who's determining the consequences and under which circumstances? But yeah, there are absolutely. If you say horrible, offensive stuff, it's totally reasonable for people to not want to associate with you, like, you know, not want you in their lives, of course, and obviously, like things like defamation are real issues where it's not an unlimited right. It does end where other people's rights begin, as to all rights. But I mean, that's the concern, Farnsworth, is that the establishment gets to decide what free speech is, and if free speech is there so that we can criticize the establishment, that of course nullify. Then in that situation, you don't have free speech anymore. You just have the right to say things within certain constraints. So I think there's a broader principle of free speech on a cultural level, and then there's something like in the United States we have the First Amendment to the Constitution, which Congress shall pass no law abridging the freedom of speech. So yes, there's a and the government one is important, of course. But if you say, okay, the government can't restrict it, but you're very tolerant towards, I think, what is referred to as a heckler's veto, you practically don't have the same degree of freedom. So I think there's a political component to it, and I think there's also a cultural component to it. And I do think that as the cultural component or the cultural aspects of free speech can be a little bit more tolerant of there being consequences. drop a portal here. We're going to get the rift gate and come back down. Yeah, I don't want to make blanket statements about the EU, but I do remember some German government officials on 60 Minutes talking about, I think, prosecuting someone for calling a politician a male anatomy part. And I'm watching that and thinking, gosh, if we did that here, over half of our population would be in jail right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm generally for more politeness in society and being less of a jerk to other people, but I also don't want to see people go to jail for being a jerk. Like, broadly speaking, I don't think jackassery is a criminal offense. So our ectoplasm situation, 15. All right, we'll make it Vengeful Wraith.
I knew that eliminating Creep would not be the end of it.
I can't disagree with that at all, Susie. That seems like a perfectly reasonable way of viewing the problem to me.
You strike me as something. All right.
Generals of Mending. Alright, level 70. This is Pierce, Vit, Stun, Petrify, Health, Energy. So we lose a little bit of Aether Res, which is fine. Okay. Yeah, that's going on. I think I did Sandspitter Oppressor, but it was an SSF run, so it's probably not a perfect build. I can, if you want the Oppressor version, I can find it for you. Let me know, but I never did it as Warlord.
Future, the altar of Ratosh is a rare place. Now that you have what you've ever since the Ugdum, yes, deep beneath Ugdum, good. You will
All right, let's. I'll go kill Janaxia. Why not? Coven. Okay, we're honored. We have the money. I guess we'll buy a writ from them. Why not? It's not really necessary, but whatever. Yeah, let me find the SSF Sandspitter Oppressor. Isn't Blades of Nadon? Blades of Nadon is. I was thinking Unknown Soldier. I know there's a way of doing Pierced Devos, but it's like. I feel like there's one Pierce Devo meta setup. Yeah, that's see that being the issue. Let me see what I did for my SR Blade Master. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we've got Turtle, Scythe, Assassin's Blade, Assassin, Blades of Nadon, Harp, Unknown Soldier, and Azraka. So yeah, you can get scales with this, but you have to not take the 2 nodes of Assassin and just get the proc. Yeah, once you're getting red devos, it your margin for error is basically non-existent in terms of the affinity. So it's a trade-off if you want to go ghoul. Yeah, I think my rule is always pick the tier 3, then the pick the tier 3 you want and kind of go from there. So I ended up not even looking at anything on the other side of the devotion map, because I figured it'd be pretty tight.
Is that your mother? An unfortunate Ulgrim. Yes, mound I see.
78 and elite done, nice.
It's good to see that you're right. Oh, to well, you not to worry.
Yeah, the Sand Spitter concept is fine. I have to say the SSF version and getting those first MIs to drop especially was pretty painful. But like, if you have access to some already, then it's not as bad. I seem to remember Kronzi dying to reflect on the Sandspitter build once or twice. I think it was when... I forget if it was when leveling, though. Because... obviously, if it happens when leveling, it's a little... Oh, wait. Hold on. We never took... Huh. I never took the last note of Kraken. Let me actually go to the Spirit Guide. I have some thoughts. One was endgame setup. I mean, you just get the reflector as you need. That's kind of... This might have been when Kronzi was trying to tell us that Diamond was better than Titan plating for that build as well. Or something along those lines, when Titan plating would have given him the reflector as he needed to not die. Which is very much, I think, an unforced blunder.
Let me clear your mind of regrets.
Hold on, let me see this. So we go here. Alright, so if we have this, then we don't need the crossroads. So we have 5 points available. We needed the greens for Kraken, right? Yeah. How much is it trolling to take Dryad here? We're not going to do it, but let's see. It's such a ridiculous idea. Let's see. Harp. No. We could get Crab. Get Crab and then we have a mace, so yeah, I think we do Crab. Yeah. Crab's the right call here. Alright, well, if we wanted to be super fancy, we could actually take Ulo and Crab. Because we do something like Hound, drop Sailor's Guide, but I've got 5 devotion points to spend, Farnsworth, so it's got to go somewhere. It's what? It's 50% physical damage, and it's a damage absorption. And what else are we going to do? I mean, I guess we could take Chariot. That's actually kind of crazy that we could do that. If we didn't have Crab, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but we don't have CDR, so Chariot's not good. Whatever. We're not committed yet.
I was beginning to read. I've spoken with Brin.
Alright, we'll get this to soft cap. And get the res shred to soft cap as well.
coast is ours. Resistance had attempted.
There you are. Well, this
Come see what's left of my wares. See you around.
1.8 mil in SR. It's pretty nice. Hold on. Okay, Mammoth Resistance. We are close to Honored. Once we hit Honored, we go back and buy the writ. I mean, I'm going Vire on this. I think it's decent at least. Watcher's probably a bit overkill. Wait. Vonda's memory. Get that quest. And this might actually work. Let me see. What's our rep? So close. Alright, we're not going to turn in any quests yet. We're going to see what mob kills get us. I mean, Watcher is way better for stats. Turtle has a circuit breaker. Watcher also has the reflect reduction, which probably not super important, but always good to think about those things. We're not going to talk to Ulgrim. 9888. Can we just kill some... I kind of want to get honored so I can buy the writ. I don't want to put down a portal for obvious reasons. We don't want to talk to Ulgrim because you get a bunch of rep that I want multiplied by the writ. I mean, I can live with killing a few mobs here without getting the rep multiplier, but I don't want to turn in quest without it. 9990. Yeah, we're basically there to honored. Honored. Done. And here we go. Prickly, welcome in. Appreciate the lurk. Quartermaster by the writ. And here we go. Oh, we didn't destroy the wagon. That's always fun. Well, that's not too bad. We are clearly not speed running. So you do this quest before you start marching to Crown Hill for optimal timing.
Well, good. One less thing to worry about. Here, you can be sure that we will. I'll have Caitlin get good on you to put yourself at risk for the safety of others. I believe...
Captain Wilford, I was wondering. I'm talking about.
And Black Iron Docks.
mission a success. Back before the city fell.
Okay, this should go to 8, I believe. This is probably fine as is, and at some point we do want, so we have some points in weapon pool skills as well. Now that we have 4, because they changed upheaval. The chance to drop a second Aether Crystal is such a nice change. Like, it's not every time, but it's often enough that it very clearly adds up. Alright, let's go talk to Coven, get the other U quest. It's one more mob to kill when we're rep farming later. Let's turn this in too. Alright. If we didn't have the Rift already in Crown Hill. We'd probably finish the Coven stuff now, but... Okay, we definitely want helm and shoulder upgrades if we can get them. Get some more armor for ultimate, but we are going to, however, drop down to normal difficulty to do the council quest on normals for the rep. And if we do that, we might as well see if we get a if I don't know how high Voldrak scales, but Voldrak scales high enough. We'll see if he drops level 70 mace for us. Warped of Wildfire, good to know. Theoden's still very much on brand.
councilman? Good.
Tell me. So it is finished then. With the demise of this fiend.
All right, 19404. Black Legion is 21-6. Like I said, we're going to drop down to normal. We're going to do the council quest. The less things change, the more they stay the same. That seems correct. We'll go Voldrak first. Okay. So normal Voldrak is not going to be a thing we can exploit. That's fine.
Wow. Back before the city. 'Have the council good. With them gone, Malmouth can begin to heal if the atrocities don't.
All right, 21-3, so 3,700 away. Black Legion is 3,000 away, so Black Legion's a little closer, but not too much. All right, back to elite difficulty. So we will go to the bounty table, see if we get lucky. Bullag isn't the worst, but... yeah, we're not going to bother. Ideally, we want the one that involves killing the two bosses that guard Theoden. Because you'll go there on a run anyway, so you just get points for doing it. Like, anything that requires you to go out of your way is not really worth it, in my opinion. kill the elite. One more target on Cadence. Alright, let's check the bounty table first to see if we get anything. Perfect. Yeah, this is exactly the bounty we want. Do something we're going to do anyway and get rep for it. Okay, yeah, we don't care about bounties right now. Alright, so we just go kill a few random mobs, we should be good. I'm going to head towards Terranox. We may not even need to kill that mob. But yeah, boss kill will basically guarantee us revered with Malmoth and Black Legion. Revered with Black Legion. Okay, revered with Black Legion. Sorry, revered with Malmoth Resistance. Let's see, we're at level 67. Okay, top row resistances all are fine. Chaos and Vitrez. So Vitrez we can actually fix with some ring augments.
See anything you like? I'll give you a good price on what I've got left. Put it to good use.
All right, let's go find Voldrak. We are going to need a level 70 crusher. I don't even know what those two numbers mean, but welcome in. I know it's some sort of thing or meme or something, but I'm old. Oh, yeah, we're also that level, so that's a thing. Yeah, let's not... Ow. Superior of Sanctification. So that's not going to work for me. See. See if we get a good Dreeg. Well, you know, I don't want to waste a dynamite. Let's see. Let's buy the XP pots and all of the things that we might possibly use. $35 dynamite. So it's farming Cronley, or how are you getting that? I got 5 XP pots. That's good enough. Coven. You have
Come see what's left of my wares.
what do you have that's honored?
See you around.
Nothing that great, honestly. Let's go Legion. We're going to buy their armor augments anyway, so see what they have for weapons. I mean, Grimdon, you can put down totems. That's probably the closest, realistically. I think we have got to go Potent Oleron's Fervor. Alright, well, while we're here, probably check out Voldrak. We can farm Megara again too. Maybe Megara will feel like dropping an ice amulet for us. Not really, outside of some specific stuff in the season mod, which makes Warcry spammable. I mean, Warcry is never really a damage source. It's it's reduced targets damage, and it's a RR debuff for flat fizz. Now, is there maybe something in Thang's Vastakarn? I mean, it's not impossible. Never say never, but Impenetrable of Mending, so a lot of Pierce Res. No, we're not even bothering picking that up. Let's go for Gallus. That sounds like fun. Turn your soldier berserker, which I think is a Thane, but I forget the class names. Barbarian and Druid in Baldur's Gate 3. Mighty of Incineration. That's not particularly great, is it? I mean, it somehow has Chaos Res on it. That must be Incineration, right? Alright, we have to farm Voldrak, Gallus, Mogara. We can get a few upgrades. Man. Larian does such a great job with their games. Gallus first, I guess. Sounds like you got a little closer than me. I had to do basically two extra council runs plus going down into the Theo dungeon. It's possible you're killing a few more mobs than me along the way, Viley, but even so, it's very reasonable to get revered with Malmoth on SSF. I mean, pure trash mobs. It's the reduction to health, I think, that does the damage most likely, because trash mobs tend to not be immune to health reduction. But bosses and a lot of elites, that's basically worthless. Stone-Faced of Celerity, I mean, casting speed is whatever. It's level 68. We lose a little poison res, which is basically fine. We get stun res. We actually get a bit of fizz damage, so that's alright, I think. It's not amazing. Requires a bit more spirit, but going to need more spirit anyway. Alright. So we did Gallus. Let's go, we can go Mogara, then Voldrak. Puncturing of soul warding. I mean, soul warding is good. Puncturing is less good. Yeah, I think that gets left on the ground. We go farm Voldrak. One down, 4 to go then, Miso. But yes, I would imagine that took a while to get through. .130 attack speed. Wow, that is pitiful. Hello, Tyrants of Alacrity. That is exactly what we're looking for. All right, let's reset. Go for Mogara again. Maybe we'll farm. We'll do a couple Gallus kills. Yeah, that's very solid. Crushing of Celerity. No, we go again for that. So you haven't read Mistborn then, Miso? Is that if you're saying you're not sure how you feel about Sanderson? Only the first book of Mistborn. So I'll say two very good things about Sanderson. I think his world building is very solid. And I think he makes legitimate effort to do research on things he doesn't know about that are important to the plot. I think his prose is good enough. Like the best stuff. The best stuff about Sanderson is world building and willingness to learn what's necessary to do a good job of telling a story if research is needed. The writing's good enough. Sometimes he tries to do a little bit too much. Poisoned of blood. I think if you're a literary snob, you might not like Sanderson's writing. I think that if you're... And I think Sanderson, he also has some very good characters. And I think all Wheel of Time fans very grateful to him. I think he did a very good job finishing that series as well. So I don't know. There's a lot to like about Sanderson. He is writing lectures online for free. And I think a lot of his basic tips are very relatable. I do think Sanderson changed his editor, longtime editor, retired. I don't know if it was before he wrote Stormlight 4 or 5, but it was definitely before 5, and I think it does show a little bit there. Yeah, that's a good tip too, because ultimately, yes, you have to sit down and you have to write. It's like you can only plan so long to do something. Otherwise, it never gets done. And planning is there to facilitate action, not procrastinate. I think if you're doing other legitimate work, it can be preparation, but you have to be honest with yourself about, are you just procrastinating, or are you legitimately saying, like, making progress? Like outline, creating an outline isn't procrastination if you're big into outlining before you start writing. Like, if you're actually making progress on the outline instead of doing the actual physical writing, I think that's fine. But if you're stuck in the planning phase, you're just not getting stuff done. Mighty of Attack, it's not great. I kind of was hoping for some resistances, but and yeah, I think the last book was, if you're talking about the 13 to 1500 pages thing, I was like, yeah, look, it was, I think Sanderson bit off a bit more than he could chew, and it it did harm the end product a bit. Like not to the point where I'm upset with it or anything like that, but and I do think a couple of his narrative choices in that book were also not the best, but I mean, you're never going to find a writer who you agree with everything they do. If you're asking about how, how you start writing, I mean, the short answer, the flippant answer is just start, but you kind of have to find what works for you. Some people are extremely linear. They have to start at the beginning and go to the end. I am a bit like that when it comes to writing fiction, as in I want to know where the story is going, what happened before, so that informs the future. But there are times where, if, say, I've outlined what's happening, well, I don't do a formal outline. I have in my head roughly where I want things to go, where they're going to end up, and I sort of figure out how I'm going to get there as I'm working. What I'll do is I'll write out, say, 8 to 10 chapter titles, and those chapter titles are typically going to give me a pretty good idea of what's happening in the chapter. And sometimes I'll work on a chapter that's a bit further ahead, but usually I go straight. For nonfiction, I'm what I would call a grazer, as in I'll have a thought. If I have 20 to 30 chapters in a nonfiction book, if I have a thought on one of the subjects or areas, I'll start working on that chapter, and I'll move around a lot more with something like that, because you have a thought. You can write out a few paragraphs. They're done. You've made some progress on that chapter. Then you can move on to something else. Yeah, so nonfiction, like the one I'm working on now and the one I wrote previously, both of them I had, this is my outline, these are the chapters I'm going to write, this is how I'm going to structure it. And once I had that, I could go into any chapter, since I kind of knew where it was going to go and what was going to come before it pretty comfortably. This way, if you're on chapter 10 and you really don't want to write chapter 10, but you want to get some writing done, maybe there's something you can do on chapter 13, because you have everything planned out. I'm kind of and I think I'm kind of in the middle on fiction. Like I know broad strokes what's happening in this entire 5-part series. I have some key scenes in later books that are already in my head, at least mentally written down, and I know some of what's going to happen to allow me to get there. But when I'm writing an individual book, some of the process of getting from one end of that book to another can change a little bit. Warding of Supremacy, that is Aether Res, that is Chaos Res, that is Pierce Res, and that's also damage. That is level 75, of course. There's always a catch, right? Well, I mean, I'm not going to farm another one of these. I'm just, once we hit level 75, that'll give me some more flexibility to do some other stuff. Like this is good. This is good for level 70. We definitely need more armor, but well, let me go to normal since we have the Dream boss unlocked there. And maybe we can see if Gutworm wants to drop us anything worthwhile. Yeah, exactly. I definitely want attack speed, but for the time being, I'll live. Level 94 farming is gonna be much different. Level 70 is just get an upgrade that gets me to level 94. Mighty of the Fox. Do I even bother picking these up? I don't think I do. Yeah, rovers are respected. Alright, let's see if we can actually kill Gutworm. Cutthroats. That's pretty lousy. Going to try again on the Dreeg Pants and Gutworm. And the armor on the Salile Pants we have is pretty low since I think it's the level 30 eye level. Right, because then you've got your books that she can borrow and vice versa. Seems like a good plan. So I think at this point we're probably we'll start Ultimate on Saturday, and we'll for the rest of this stream we'll just do a little bit more farming. Try to get some better gear for at least once we hit level 70. Maniacal protection, does that do anything for me? Vit bleed, stunned. No, it really doesn't. Alright, let's go for Gutworm. The thing is, Gutworm scales super high in his sort of hidden area, so there's no reason not to just kill him on normal. I imagine that for level 94 you might have better luck on ultimate to guarantee you get the highest eye level, but you also don't care nearly as much for an amulet or medal. That's fantastic, Farnsworth. Bloodletters of Vitality. Okay. So, poison, chaos, bleed. I mean, it's a ton of health. That's good enough. And it's level 70. Fine. I like SR in moderation. I'm not always super motivated to push SR on various builds. Every so often it's kind of nice to see how far a build can go. But for chill farming, I think SR is fine. Welcome in, Tuma. Tuma has a very strong opinion on SR. He's not the only one who feels that way, though, and thank you for the sub. Yeah, scaling dungeons are really good. Impervious of Dancing Shadows. What's that going to give me? Level 72. Pierce, Poison, Vit. Okay, that's an insane amount of resistances. Yes, please. Alright. We have everything we need. Could probably see if Gallus wants to be cooperative, or we just do a few quests and gain a little bit more XP before we head out. Yeah, I mean, SR is really probably the best way to push your build, because Crucible has a max difficulty, whereas SR's difficulty is unlimited. And the Celestial Super Bosses can be interesting challenges, but they're a little bit different. I would argue that those are often more a test of skill, because you could take a very strong build and make a couple of small piloting mistakes and die to, say, Ravager or Kala. Right, let's do a few more quests. Do the Ethereal Essence quest, I guess, and finish the Coven stuff. Not sure why they switched. Yeah, they see how they take a certain SR level and say how fast can we clear this, and that's sort of the measure of build power, or you know, how strong the build is. I mean, I'd argue speed's not everything, but you need some, if you're going to be testing all these builds, you need some sort of a metric.
Have you everything?
I mean, what's the highest the build can push isn't necessarily the best metric either. But maybe, because I think speed is also very dependent on your piloting that particular day. Like, there are days I go through SR a lot faster than others that have absolutely nothing to do with the strength of the build. But if you're constantly running builds through SR, you probably get used to it and have pretty much an exact way you do it all the time. I mean, for me, say speed leveling is pretty much, even though I haven't done it in a while, is like clockwork. I have an exact plan and I stick to it pretty convincingly, so there's minimal variation in piloting skill on speed leveling time. So if you do a ton of SR, I'm sure you can probably get to a place where you're basically in the same spot. Yeah, menacing of attack is fine. It's, yeah, I guess it's a leveling. I mean, if I play a Ring of Steel build, that's actually probably not bad. Maybe that can go in Item Assistant when we get Item Assistant working again. Alright, let's go get the Ethereal Essence, I guess. Yeah, I mean, what boss, and to an extent, what bosses you get can matter, but yeah, what rooms in SR you get is going to affect time. So you have to do, I don't know exactly how many runs you have to do to get a reliable time, but it's more than one. Do a Fort Icon and do a quick run through there to see if we get some better armor and shoulders. How are you liking PoE then, Tuma? I guess if you've been at it for a while, you must not hate it. Okay, so this is much... It's not a great roll, but it's much better resistances and it's way more armor, so we will use that. Ordered of Fortitude. I mean, again, it's way more... because we'll have more elemental res, so that'll fix chaos res. It's way more armor. Alright, I mean... once we hit level 70, we have a few legitimate upgrades that we can use, and we should hit level 70 pretty quickly. We also have this Prismatic of Ruin, which is probably worse. Alright, I think that's a pretty good stopping point. We get you guys the Grim Tools for this, but we got ourselves up to level 68. We got revered with Black Legion and Mount with Resistance, so we'll have XP pots. Alright, there's the level 68 Grim Tools. Appreciate everyone being here. I'll be streaming tomorrow, but it's going to be some more Dishonored. We'll be back to Grim Dawn on Saturday morning. Stream will be starting at around 8 a.m. Eastern Time US, because the weather is getting nicer, so I take the dog out for a nice walk early on, and instead of taking a kind of midstream break to feed her and such. Just timing works out better. Plus, I'm babysitting a neighbor's dog and making sure they get fed and walked in the morning too. So it's just starting later just makes a lot more sense. So Saturday, Sunday will be starting at 8 o'clock. And then the weekday streams will still be the same, starting around 4. So I'm going to send you guys over to Warborn, who's playing Grim Dawn as well.